Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So for this video, I'm going to be discussing my top 10 thrillers that have the best plot twists, at least in my humble opinion, because plot twists can be divisive. Like for some people, they don't see them coming and they're blown away by how amazing it is. So other times, people can see it coming from a mile away and maybe they like it, but they're like, I could see it coming, so it wasn't that impressive. Other times, people don't see it coming, but they still think it's stupid and they don't like it. So it's definitely a very subjective opinion. There's not going to be a thriller plot twist that everyone agrees with. But for me, this is just subjectively my favorite plot twist that I've found in thrillers over the years. And so, yeah, very subjective. Definitely comment down below if you agree or disagree with any of these. And what are your favorite thrillers that have good plot twists? Also, minor spoiler warning. I'm not going to go into what these twists actually are, but I might say like if they're at the end, or sometimes they're more in the middle, or sometimes I think one of these is actually at the beginning. So twists can kind of happen anywhere, most of the time at the end. But some minor spoiler warning if you don't want to know like if a book has a twist or not. I don't really mind knowing that, but for some people might be a bit more sensitive to that. So we'll see. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So first off, I'm going to start out with a thriller that really propelled me into reading or wanting to read more thrillers, because when I got back into reading, I was definitely reading a lot more fantasy because I got into like Harry Potter, and then I got into like Stephen King with horror stuff, but also with Dark Tower, and then A Song of Ice and Fire and Stormlight. But this book in particular really got me back into reading thrillers, or actually just reading thrillers for the first time, honestly. And that would, of course, be Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I went into this book not knowing anything, which for me, going into thrillers not knowing much or knowing as little as possible is definitely the best way to do it, because I don't want to get spoiled for anything and I want it to feel fresh and I want to be surprised by stuff. So jumping into this book, not really knowing what it was, except for it's about a missing lady. That's all I knew. But, you kind of reach the halfway point and then you figure out what exactly is going on. And I tell you guys, my jaw was on the floor. I did not see that coming. And I thought it was amazing. Gave the book 5 stars. And then, I've just been kind of reading thrillers just to, get that same feeling that I had just staying up super late in my bed and just reading it and just getting to that point, and I'm just like, holy crap, how did the author pull that off? But yeah, what an amazing twist. I'm not going to say what it is, obviously, but I feel like that one's popular enough. A lot of people have read it that you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, definitely Gone Girl. What an impressive twist. I really enjoyed it. And she has some other books that were pretty good, but I kind of saw those twists coming. But definitely the first time I read this one, I was blown away. So definitely had to include Gone Girl on the list here. So like I mentioned, twists can happen at different points in books. Gone Girl, kind of like the halfway point is when you figure out the main twist. But there's also books that like at the beginning, not the very beginning, obviously, but like towards the beginning, there's a big twist. And one of those is Confessions by Kane Minato. This book is interesting where it's written, I think, in like 6 chapters. And each chapter you get a different person's POV, but over kind of the same storyline. So you're kind of figuring out more stuff with each chapter. So each chapter really has a bombshell moment, like a twist where you figure out more of the plot. But for me, the ending to chapter 1 was just one of the most bonker things that I've ever read in a thriller, or really in anything. That's kind of the most memorable part of the book for me. Like that twist, holy crap, y'all. So just check it out for that. Read chapter 1, and if you're not floored by that reveal, then you're not going to like the book. because that reveal was amazing. And it's at the end of chapter 1. Chapter 1's a little lengthy, but it was just so good. And yeah, so definitely check it out if you want like a bombshell right at the beginning of the book. So definitely had to include that on here. And again, twists don't have to come at the very end of the novel. I would say this one, you get like maybe 2/3 of the way through and you get the reveal. And this one, y'all, is pretty divisive. Like for Gone Girl, I think that one's almost, I'm sure it has some haters, but generally that's acclaimed as one of the best twists and thrillers, I'd argue. But for this one, very divisive. A lot of people did not like this twist, and I can't really say why, but all I can say is read it for yourself. That would, of course, be The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. And Riley Sager, for me, is definitely a hit or miss author. Sometimes the twists I don't enjoy that much. Like I read Lock Every Door, and I thought that twist was really stupid, not what I wanted to read, but other people like the twist. Riley Sager, definitely hit or miss for people. But for me, The House Across the Lake, I was loving this book, and then you get to the twist, and it's just the most bonkers thing you've ever read, and a lot of people hated it. But for me, I loved it. I thought it was amazing, and it's one of those things where you have to go back, and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. But then you go back and think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's very clever that he did that. But a lot of people just think it's stupid, but I really like it. So if you want a really bonkers twist, and keep an open mind about it, then read The House Across the Lake, because it's really good. And now we get to a plot twist that actually happens towards the end of the book. I would say probably in the last couple of chapters, and that would be The Plot by Jean Hoff Corlitz. I always mispronounce this name, but oh well. This book was amazing. This is basically about a guy who's a teacher, a writer, who's never really been able to publish anything. And here comes this student who's a bit of a jackass, and they've actually written like a really good novel, and this guy cannot believe that this person wrote this masterpiece. That student ends up dying somehow, and the teacher is just like, you know what, let's publish this as me. And then he becomes super famous, but then, you know, there's probably someone out there who knows what he did, and he's kind of on the run about that. So yeah, this one has a really good plot, pun intended. And the twist, initially, I did not see it coming. I saw it coming right before it happened, but I still really thought the twist was clever. I know a lot of people saw it coming, like from a mile away, which, you know, can ruin it for a lot of people. But for me, I didn't see it coming until like right before it happened, and I thought it was really good. And yeah, definitely one of the better twists that I've read personally. Definitely check it out if that at all sounded interesting. There's also books that just have twists just constantly throughout the books. Like you're constantly getting reveals left and right. And sometimes for me, that can be a bit too much. I'm just like, oh God, it can kind of feel gimmicky. But for me, The Last Word by Taylor Adams did it perfectly and almost in a comical way where you're just like, how can this book get any more ridiculous? And somehow the book does that. It just keeps topping itself with all of the different crazy shit that happens in it. And it really worked for me. The Last Word is one of my all-time favorite thrillers that I've ever read. It's kind of dark and twisted in a way, but also in a funny way. Like it's definitely a lot of black comedy happening, because it's just so outrageous, the number of twists and turns that this book takes. But it was amazing. And if you want like a very twisty kind of book where like at the end of every chapter, or at least every couple of chapters, like something crazy is happening. Something's getting revealed that kind of twist the story in, you know, in crazy ways. So definitely The Last Word by Taylor Adams. If you want a book that's just crazy throughout, tons of twists and turns, check it out. There's also twists that can kind of change your perspective on the story and could either really make you hate the book. Like, you know, with House Across the Lake, a lot of people hated that twist and ended up not loving it. But there's also a twist that can happen at the end where it elevates the story for you. It makes you really think about it and really makes you enjoy it more. And the definite example for me is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. This book, for the most part, like I would say the first 90% of the book, I thought was pretty good. Like I was probably going to give it anywhere from like 3 to 4 stars. I'm like, yeah, it's good. But then you get to the end, and that ending comes out of nowhere. Like, it's one of those endings in twists that you really can't predict. Like, a lot of people did not see it coming, and they really didn't like it because of that. Some people like their twists where they can, have foreshadowing and have them be able to actually predict it. But this one kind of just comes out of left field, and you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. And for me, I loved it. I thought it was just really awesome and just out of left field, not at all what I was expecting. And it made me like the book even more. And I ended up giving it 5 stars. Probably not deserving because most of the book wasn't like spectacular, but the ending, I loved it so much for that twist that it just elevated the whole story for me. And I wanted everybody to go check it out. So definitely that's a twist that elevated the story for me, Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. Another recent novel that had a twist right around the halfway mark would be The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. And this one, a lot of people, again, twist can kind of make or break a book for a lot of people. And for a lot of people, they did not like the twist. They probably saw it coming from a mile away, if I can talk. But for me, I did not see it coming, which sometimes I can call thrillers or twists. I can call twists, but other times I can't. And for this one, I did not see it coming, and I thought it was very clever. It was just really, really well done, and I can't really talk about what it is, of course, but you've got the premise of The Writing Retreat where this really famous author takes about like 6 young women, and basically they're there to write. That's kind of the basic premise, and then it kind of spirals out of control, and there's a twist, I would say, about halfway through that really changes the dynamic and the stakes of the story. I thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't, but again, this is just my subjective personal taste. I loved the twist, so The Writing Retreat definitely deserves a spot on the list for me. Another kind of newer novel for me where the twist definitely happens closer to the end, and it's one of those things where, again, it changes your whole view of the story. For me, it worked really well. For some others, it didn't, or they were able to call it much sooner. But for me, Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney has one of my all-time favorite twists in any thriller that I've read. It kind of has, a basic premise where, a bunch of family members are gathered at this kind of, gothic old house, and there's weird things happening and unexplained things. And by the end of the book, you realize what's happening, and I did not see it coming, and I thought it was really well done, very memorable, and it really made me enjoy the story more. And it's one of those thrillers where like the twist makes me want to go back and reread it knowing what I know already. And that's the good sign of a thriller, where it makes you want to rethink the whole story and kind of reread it with that different mind frame where like what's happening and you get kind of a more full picture. So for me, the ending to that really elevated it. I know for some people, they saw it coming. I didn't see it. Maybe you could argue that I'm not very good at seeing thriller twists coming, but oh well. I loved it, and hopefully you do too. So Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, one of the better twists in my opinion. And now we're definitely going to some classic mystery thrillers. One of my all-time favorite authors is Agatha Christie, and she's obviously the queen of mystery. Just written tons of novels and short stories with really great twists. Sometimes they're easier to predict than others, but this one, like when she wrote this and people read it for the first time, I could only imagine how duped they felt and how mind blown they were. I'm of course talking about The Murder on the Orient Express. And going into this book, I did not know what the twist was. In the back of my mind, I had the idea of what it could be, but I was just like, it can't be that. There's no way. Like it just wouldn't make sense. But then you get to the end and you're just like, oh, it was that. And she was able to outline it and make it make sense. Because sometimes you get a twist and it's just like, okay, that's a good twist, but like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, how is it going to work? But this one was written in like the 30s and it still holds up. Like I read it, like 10 years ago or so, and it really holds up. And for people who don't know what the twist is and they get to it, I feel like a lot of people would really enjoy it. So if you want an Agatha Christie book with one of the most like crazy plot twist and just really out there, hard to predict twist, definitely check it out. And potentially, if you, in the back of your mind, if you think you know what it is, it might just be that. You never know. But yeah, Murder on the Orient Express, amazing. And this last one, I'm going to maybe throw out more as an honorable mention because technically, I haven't read the book yet. And it's not technically, I haven't read the book yet. But I have watched the movie, and I know from certain other people who have read this book, including my wife and Ian the reader, they've read the book, and she hasn't watched the movie, but Ian, I think, has done both. I've watched the movie, and I know that both things have the twist in it, so I'm going to count it. I'm, of course, talking about Shutter Island. And I have not read this book yet, but I have seen the movie, and the first time I saw the movie, that twist really took me back because I did not see it coming. And I know it's pretty much the same thing in the book, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading the book and seeing how the author pulls it off in text form, because the movie form, yeah, that twist was amazing. And yeah, really liked it, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading it and seeing how it compares. I'm sure it's also really well done because that twist is really hard to predict for me. Another honorable mention, because I noticed that I had another option in here, but it's more of a horror book. But definitely this twist, it was one of those things where, like, I'll just say what the book is. It's Brother by Anya Alborn. This is definitely more of a horror book. And the twist made me go from, like, liking the book, like, thinking it was okay, to, like, rethinking the whole thing and, like, holy crap. One of the most messed up twists I've ever read. And it immediately shot it up to 4.5 stars. Not perfect, but good Lord, that horror twist was just crazy. And yeah, just wanted to throw it out there. Not really a thriller pick, but if you want like a really messed up horror twist, check out Brother. Crazy shit. All right, so those are my thriller picks that have the best twists of all time. Definitely let me know if you agree or disagree with my picks here. And also let me know if there's any thrillers that have been snubbed from this list, like thrillers. What are your favorite thrillers that have the best twist? And obviously, comment down below. Don't use any spoilers because I don't want people to get spoiled for any of these books. So no spoilers, please. Or if you're going to spoil it, do the thing where you type your comment and then dot all the way down so people can avoid spoilers. Because that's just sucky when you go into a book wanting to read it and then you get spoiled by a dumb comment. So don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, definitely comment down below. And yeah, that's all I got for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big fat thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you are subscribed, thank you guys so much. And stay subscribed for more content. I try to upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for y'all. And what else do I say? Book or Sermon Discord down below, where we've always got tons of buddy reads and read-alongs happening all the damn time, including Thrill, Chill, or Kill Book Club, where every month we pick a random thriller, mystery, horror book to read. What are we doing next month in July? We are doing, Riley Sager, which I mentioned in the video. We're doing his newest book, With a Vengeance, which technically came out in June, and I'm actually reading it right now and very much enjoying it, although I've heard bad things. We'll see. I've also got my Patreon link down below if you want to go support me there for as little as $1 a month, and my Amazon wishlist if you want to buy me a book. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.